Let's speak now to twice former Prime Minister of Ukraine, Arseniy Yatsenyuk, who is the chair of the Kyiv Security Forum. Arseniy, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us. So let's talk, no problem at all. Let's talk about the sanctions. How effective do you think they're going to be in putting pressure on Moscow?
Look, it is a real breakthrough. It's not just a symbolism. It is a very strong action against the two main companies and its subsidiaries who provide a lifeline and who actually finance the Russian military war chest. And these sanctions will cover the Russian so-called Black Fleet or the Russian Shadow Fleet. The only problem I see is that we need definitely to impose the secondary sanctions because China and India are the biggest consumers of the Russian oil. And the way they pay is quite clear. They pay in the local currency, both Chinese and Indian local currency, so mainly it's renminbi. So I expect that the next step would be to impose secondary sanctions on those who try to circumvent these sanctions. So it is a real blow. And you saw the reaction of Kremlin. They are over the roof. They didn't expect this. And the European Commission passed simultaneously similar decision, which is the 19th package of sanctions. So it is a good move. It seems to me that the US administration has at least realized, or at last realized, that Putin tries to play President Trump, that he wants to humiliate the US administration, and there is no other way rather than to act. And the president decided to act and to show that he is serious in defending Ukraine and in defending the values of the free world. That's my reading.
Let's talk a little bit about these frozen Russian assets that European leaders potentially are aiming to use to support Ukraine. How likely do you think that's going to happen, and how useful would that be to Ukraine right now?
Last year, I, together with Larry Summers, Zelik and Zelikov, published an article. It was an open appeal in FT, just providing the legal grounds for the confiscation of the Russian assets. Because those who question the legality have just to study the law, the international law. It is Russia that committed an act of aggression, and we need to bring Russia to justice. The special purpose vehicle that was invented by the European Commission, because I just came back from DC and from Brussels, so I was told not to mention confiscation. Okay, let's call it as a reparation law. This is the only source right now to finance Ukraine and to provide both military and financial support to Ukraine to fend off Russians and actually to win this war. Because we do understand that every government is facing its own challenges, domestic challenges, even you in UK. And it's not an easy job to convince your taxpayers to invest into your security, because helping Ukraine, you're investing into your own security. So my gut feeling is that the Belgium will lift its veto. And I do buy the argument of Belgium, because I met the defense minister of Belgium and he was very clear, and I fully share his take, that it's important to get some kind of risk sharing or burden sharing among all EU member states. So I expect that the EU is to provide this kind of responsible burden sharing mechanism all over the European Union, and this type of reparation loan will be delivered to Ukraine.
I want to ask you something, Arseniy, if I may, with regards to some news that's just come into us in the last few minutes. And we've been hearing news that 2 Russian military aircraft have entered NATO member Lithuania's airspace this evening for about 18 seconds. And we understand that some Spanish Eurofighter Typhoon jets were scrambled in response. That's another incursion into NATO territory. Of course, we had those drones in Poland in September. What do you think is happening here, and what does the response need to be?
Nothing new. I do remember from the past, this is the similar copycat pattern that Soviets applied. So Putin is just testing the resolve of NATO, testing the resolve of the free world, testing in Article 4 and Article 5, testing the way the White House is to respond, and testing the way whether Ukraine can fight this war of attrition. The best response is to provide a very strong punch back. That's the only language Putin understands. So if he believes that he can escalate, he has to realize that NATO is stronger than Russia and that NATO has enough tools to respond and to act appropriately. Shoot down the planes in case if they pose the threat to your national security, period.
OK, Arseniy, it's good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for coming onto the programme.
Thank you.